Okay, welcome back, students. So in this video we'll be doing question number 2. Okay, so this is the given question. Okay, so the question is, we're asked to find a quadratic polynomial, right? So the first thing that you actually strike your mind is, what is a quadratic polynomial? So a quadratic polynomial is an equation of this form. Okay, so an equation of this form is actually called a quadratic polynomial. Let me remind you, a, b and c are going to be numbers, clear? And x over here, in both the case, x square or x, these are both unknown variables. Okay, so necessarily all these sort of equations, okay, any equations of this form, okay, it could do the variables, that means variable over here is y, it's over x and t, because these are unknown variables. We do not know the value of these, are called quadratic polynomials. All right, clear? So we have to form an equation of this form. Okay, so the first question that we have is, they have given us the sum and product of the zeros, okay, and that will come in handy. And there are many ways of solving these questions, okay, clear? So sum of the zeros is equal to 1 by 4, and product of zeros is equal to minus 1. All right, there are many ways of solving this. Okay, so an easier way of solving this is one such case. So in case if you want to find out the quadratic polynomial, this is just the formula that you kind of have to follow. X square, sum of the zeros, okay, for all the equations in fact, plus the product of zeros. Okay, and you just equate this to 0. Yeah, this is going to be x square, the sum of the zeros is 1 by 4x, right? And the product of zeros is given as minus 1 equal to 0. Clear? So in the next step, this, if I take the LCM for this, I will get this as 4 into x square minus x minus 4. Remember here, plus minus becomes minus, alright? So equal to 0. Now you take 4 to the other side. So if you take 4 to the other side, this is the equation you're left with, minus 4x minus 4. Alright? Okay? And you can always verify whether your answer is correct or not. So if we focused on this equation, okay, coming back here, your a is going to be 4, your b is going to be equal to minus 1, and your c is going to be equal to minus 4. So you just check if it's going to be correct or not. Okay, you find out. Remember, what is sum of zeros? The other form is actually given as minus b by a, and the product of the zeros is also given as c by a, right? So you just substitute your b as minus 1, your a is 4, and you just see if you're getting it equal to this or not. Okay, if it's equal, that means the answer is correct. All right, clear? This is just remember this formula. It works. Okay, it works for all the questions. Otherwise, there are also other ways of solving, but this is easier. Now for the second question, what we have here is this: you have root 2 and 1 by 3. Okay, so just to be sure, first write down your sum of zeros. So your sum of zeros is actually equal to root 2. Okay, then your product of zeros is equal to 1 by 3. Okay, so just use the formula x square minus sum of zeros of x plus product of zeros and equate it to 0. Okay, product of zeros is equal to 0. Okay, so x square, the sum of zeros is given as root 2 of x plus product of zeros is given as 1 by 3 equal to 0. Okay, just give me a sec. Okay, let me just check something. Okay, the recording is still there. Okay, there's actually lots of distraction right now, that's why. Okay, so this is how it's working. Okay, so you just take the LCM for this, so you'll be getting this as 3, so 3x square minus, you'll get this as 3 root 2x plus 1 equal to 0. So your quadratic equation would be 3x square minus 3 root 2x plus 1 equal to 0. Clear? So your sum of the zeros, remember the formula is the minus b by a, and your product of this 0 is c by a. So in this equation, this is just for okay, this is actually the answer. I'm just this is the verification part, okay, just to check if your answer is correct or not. So over here your A is 3, your B over here is minus 3 of root 2, and your C is equal to 1, and you just check if your answer is correct or not. Alright, yeah, okay, so we shall go to the next question. Okay, so the next question is given as 0 and root 3. Okay, so first find out your sum of zeros. So your sum of zeros is equal to 0, and your product of 0 is given as it's root 5, alright, not root 3, root 5. Okay, now therefore this is going to be x squared minus the same formula over and over again, sum of the zeros of x plus product of the zeros. Okay, it should be equal to 0. Alright, so it's going to be x squared, sum of the zeros is going to be 0 into x, plus product is going to be root 5. Alright, so your equation is going to be root 5 minus x squared minus root 5. Just to verify, for the sake of verifying, A is equal to 1, B is equal to 0, C is equal to minus root 5. Okay, now you just go and check, okay, if the answer is going to be correct or not. Alright, so you substitute your B over here. Obviously sum of 0 is equal to 0, so that's correct. Now substitute your C over here and you just check out if your answer is correct or not. Okay, sorry, this is plus, alright, there's a plus sign here. Alright, okay, so this is your equation, so this is the answer, x squared plus root 5. Okay, next question is this, 1 and 1. So sum of the zeros is equal to 1, product of the zeros is equal to 1. Therefore equation is x squared minus sum of the zeros of x plus product of zeros, okay, equal to 0. So x squared, sum of 0 is x, yes, because sum is this 1 plus 1, and this is going to be equal to 0. So this is your equation, quadratic equation, x squared plus 1 plus 1. You can always add your answer this way, is the quadratic equation. Okay, it's a quadratic polynomial. It's a quadratic polynomial. Alright, so always, this is just for verifying part. Again, I keep on reminding you, you just substitute this and you just check. Okay, right here, equate this in the sum of zeros and product of zeros, and you check out if you're getting it as equal to 1. The fourth question, okay, is given as minus 1 by 4. The fifth question, 1 by 4. Now sum of zeros is given as minus 1 by 4. The product of zeros is given as 1 by 4 as well. Okay, so therefore the equations are simple, x squared minus sum of zeros, x plus product of zeros, okay, equal to 0. So x squared, sum of zeros is 1 by 4x. Now product of zeros is 1 by 4. Remember, sum of zeros is actually minus, okay, I have forgotten here. Sum of zeros is given as minus 1 by 4, so be careful with that. Alright, so you're going to get this as minus x squared, minus is plus x by 4 plus 1 by 4. Alright, okay, so you take an LCM, so this is going to be 4, this is going to be 4 into x squared plus x plus 1 equal to 0. So finally your equation is going to be, because if you take 4 to the right hand side, you'll be getting this as 4x squared plus x plus 1 equal to 0 into 4. So this finally becomes 4x squared plus x plus 1. And you can always verify, A is equal to 4, B over here is equal to 1, and C is equal to 1. And you just verify and check. Okay, and how to check is, I told you, sum of zeros formula is actually what? Minus B by A. So what do we get minus B over here? We're getting it as, what did we get for B? Minus is already there. What did we get for B? We're getting it as 1, and A is minus 4. Now product is actually C by A, okay? Coefficient, it's a constant term by the coefficient of x squared. You'll have to watch the previous video to understand this, alright? So C is given as 1 and this is given as 4. Now let's see, is sum of the zeros equal to minus 1 by 4? Yes, correct. Is the product of the zeros equal to 1 by 4? That is correct. Clear? That means this is the correct quadratic polynomial. Alright. Question number 6. It's a fairly easy question, so you do it as homework. Alright. It's a very easy question. So we shall end the video over here. Okay.